Hello, Catherine. Hello, Genevieve. Jill, are you there? Well, she's coming. Hold on just a second. There's Jill. Hey. So I've got the air. It's warm here these couple of days here. I've got the air conditioning on in this room. We've got a mini split up there. Can you guys hear me clearly? Can you even hear that, or does it? No, you can't even hear it. Good. Okay. It's actually quite loud, but some things pick up, some things don't. All right, let's do Fang Zhong Gong. So when you do this exercise, it's actually true for all the exercises, but this one in particular, you kind of see or feel it a little bit more. This exercise is basically just two of the four, there's 13 energies in Tai Chi, Henglu, Jian, Zai Lei, Jiukao, etc., etc. This is just two of those energies. Peng and An. When you do them, don't do them empty. Right? When you do Peng, you should feel as if you're lifting something. It's light, it's very light, but it's there. Right? You're lifting something. When you do An, you're pressing something down. Again, it's light, but it's there. When you do this on both sides at the same time, this side is lifting. This side is pressing down. And you should really feel that. All right, now do it slowly. All right? You're lifting and pressing down. You're lifting and pressing down. Grandmaster Feng used to say that doing Qigong should be like swimming in the air. So you're swimming. There's some resistance. It moves. If you're in the water, right, and you're treading water, you can move freely, and yet there's some pressure, right? So there's some pressure pressing down. There's some pressure holding up. Now, keep doing it and tell me what happens with your spine. When you're doing this, what happens with your spine? And then when you come back toward the center, right, now it comes in. And then you go down on the other side. It stretches. It condenses. It stretches. It condenses. It stretches. It condenses. It stretches. It condenses. It stretches. Right? Pretend. Hold on a second. Let me find something. I happen to have a good string here, right? So it stretches, it condenses, it stretches, it condenses, it stretches, it condenses. So now take your hand, you can use a cat too. You can stretch the cat, right? And then condense it, right? And stretch on the other side. And condense, and stretch, and condense, and stretch, and condense, and stretch, and condense. Now, when you use your fists as if you're holding, a bungee cord or something. Tomorrow I'll get a bungee cord, right? You stretch. Now change hands, and now the other side stretches, and it relaxes, and it stretches, and it relaxes, and it stretches, and it relaxes. Now, when we do it that way, It's very much like a silk reeling exercise. There's much more physicality in there, and you can see and feel things in perhaps a slightly different way. When we do it in Hunan, in Fangzhen Gong, it's much lighter, but it's the same exercise. So it's like instead of using a 500-watt bulb, you've reduced it down to a 60-watt bulb. All right. So it's very gentle, very gentle. But it's the same thing. Relax the spine, stretch the spine. Relax the spine, stretch the spine. If you're doing silk reeling, well, it's really physical. You're really going to manipulate and stretch the spine. This is more gentle, so it's less focus on muscles and spine and more on your energy body. But it's exactly the same exercise. So it's focusing a little more on the energy body and a little less on the physical body. But you still need to know what's going on inside. And if you do it correctly, particularly if it's the first exercise you've done in the day, you may find yourself getting a lot of spontaneous spinal adjustments. Right? Little pop, pop, crack, boom. It's like, oh, I didn't even know that I was kind of stiff there. So can you all feel that in your spine? Jill, can you feel that in your spine when you do it? Catherine, yes, I can see that you feel it, all right? And Genevieve. Um, these exercises literally go back thousands of years. They go back into the shamanic age, which in China still exists in places because they didn't have doctors. And they didn't have any money, and they didn't have any doctors, and people didn't go to Harvard Medical School and then move to the outback in China. So they had to take care of themselves. And one of the ways they did it was to try to keep the qi flowing through the body because that's what keeps you healthy. So this is like TLC for the spine. Now, if you watch me do it, watch my neck. All right. You see, I'm kind of my spine is a little stiff up between my shoulder blades because of all the computer work that I do. All right. So it's fine to wiggle yourself around a little bit and to feel your hips and your pelvis and feel the spine up and down. If you don't realize that you're in water, then you're going to miss a lot of the benefit of these kinds of exercises because what happens is unconsciously you you think you're in a vacuum and you just kind of move without feeling the medium that you're in. So I'm going to tell you guys a story. I grew up in a tiny little town in northern Indiana, and that little town was about 12,000 people. That town was built on what's called the glacial moraine. The glacial moraine is a series of they were hills, not real big, a couple 100 feet high. That moraine, those hills are actually where the last glacier stopped. And all the rocks and soil and everything that the glacier was scraping down from the north just ended up dropping there. And in between those hills, they were gentle hills, often there are springs and lakes. There was a little lake just north of our town. There's actually 5 or 6 little lakes just north of our town. And my paternal grandparents and my maternal grandparents both had summer cottages at one of those lakes. And that's where my mother and father met when they were just children. And us kids, when we were born, would spend all summer out there. And we would be in that lake all day, every day, for the whole summer. I don't know if you guys ever had that. It's a wonderful experience. And of course, when you're a little kid, you're not thinking about anything. You're just having fun, right? They're swimming and throwing each other around, and there was a big raft, and we'd get on the raft and play king of the raft and throw everybody off, and you'd get thrown off, and then we'd swim out. The lake was about a mile across. So it was a decent sized lake. Why do we love water so much? Why every kid, there must have been 300 little cottages around that lake. Every kid in every cottage was in that lake because there were 3 or 4 beaches around the lake. Why do we love the water so much?
We were born swimming. Well, before we were born, we're swimming.
That's right. Well, that's absolutely true. And when you get in the lake, you're still swimming. When you're in the air, you're still swimming. Don't don't let don't let unconsciousness steal that from you. You're still swimming. Right? We have this idea that there's just nothing here. We act like there's nothing here because we can see through it. Right? And so we just don't pay any attention to it. Tell you what, I'm going to show you guys something, but it'll take me a minute to find this. Catherine, would you lead the group in the next exercise while I do a little research, right? So the emperor's cartwheels, right? Forward and backward.
Okay.
This?
Okay, so I'm going to, I found the things I wanted to show you. I'll set them up and then we'll share the thing here, but I'll explain what it is. Um, these are railroad tank cars. You know, the kind that you see that are hauling you know, liquid oils or something like that. All right, so they're massive. What they're doing are demonstrations to help you understand the power of the air around you. So they take a car that has been condemned, so it's past its due by date, it's going to be junked anyway, and they hook a vacuum truck, a commercial grade vacuum truck, up to the railroad car, and they pull all the air out. That's all they're doing. So what you're seeing now is a tank that no longer has any air pressure inside it to balance the air pressure outside it. Very simple. It used to be there was air pressure or the pressure of oil or something inside it. It would balance the air pressure outside, so nothing would happen, of course. When they create a vacuum, boom, 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 all they're doing is pulling the air out. So now there's air pressure outside, but there's no air pressure inside. And I want you to see what happens. And the only thing that is causing this to happen is the air, just like the air around you right now. All right? Hold on. Here's another one. This is only, I think 6 seconds long. Let's watch that one more time. We need more noise. Now, did you see on that first one, they had it titled The Power of Vacuum? That is not correct. It's not the power of the vacuum that's doing anything, it's the power of the air that's doing it. The vacuum is just a place where there's no air. Right? I don't know if you've ever been up next to one of those railroad cars. They are massive. And they are, that's probably like 3/8 or half-inch steel plate. And it's crushed. The same thing would happen to you if you didn't have an interior pressure, but you do. The point of those demonstrations is, look, there's something around you. It's real. Yeah, you can see through it, and yeah, we're used to moving in it. We don't pay it any attention, but it's actually extremely powerful. All right? If that's true, that there's something really powerful that you are swimming in all the time and you pay no attention to it whatsoever, what else is there around that you don't pay attention to? Maybe inside yourself. All right? So when you do this exercise, relax, but you pay attention. You're literally swimming in the air, literally. Not kind of, it's not a metaphor, it's what you're actually doing. You're lifting, 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 squeezing, pressing down, condensing in, expanding, lifting, bringing it in, pressing it down, sinking it inside. It has to be real for you. You have to feel it. If you do some if you do some craft work of some kind, and you got a hammer or something, and you're going to do this, you do this for a while, all right? You feel it in your hands. Even when you set the hammer down, you're still going to feel it. This has to be like that. And that means you have to relax your mind and remember where you are and feel it. Once you get a principle like this in one exercise, you can take it out to all the other exercises because they all work the same way. Every exercise, you have to feel this. One of the things that you can focus on in Fang Zhong Gong is this relationship with the medium of the air. Some of the other exercises, like Tai Chi and like silk reeling, are they're so much more physical that you probably are not going to focus very much on your relationship with the air. And yet it's also important. It's important in those arts too. So one of the reasons that you do Fang Zhong Gong, because it's very gentle and very quiet, is it lets you focus on your relationship with the atmosphere. And then after you've done that for a few months or a few years, then you bring that into your Tai Chi. When my hand comes down, I feel like there's a very light pressure. There's a very light pressure. And now I'm lifting something. And now there's a very light pressure down. And now there's a very light pressure that's keeping me from doing this. It's very gentle, but it's there. And now I'm literally holding something. And now I'm pressing it down. When you're learning Tai Chi, you're probably not going to have much bandwidth available to pay attention to things like that. That's one of the reasons to do Fang Zhong Gong, is because Fang Zhong Gong, it's so simple little exercises, and they're repetitive over and over and over and over. Guys, you can make up your own Fang Zhong Gong exercises, anything you want. It's not the particular movements that are the trick. The trick is your mindset, right? You could just do this. Well, now it's not Tai Chi, now it's Fang Zhong Gong, right? Because of the way you're doing it, your mindset in doing it. Does this make sense? Catherine, does this make sense? Genevieve, yes. Jill, yes. Good. Okay. So the trick in these things, and it's true for every routine, every different art that we do, it's your mind. It's your mindset that matters. If you come into Fang Zhong Gong, if you just had a big fight with someone, and you're all mad, you're like, all right, I'm gonna do some Fang Zhong Gong, right? That's not Fang Zhong Gong anymore. It may be the same exercises, but it's not the same mindset. Maybe after an hour of it, you'd cool down a little bit and get to it, but you're practicing one particular mindset and one particular energy when you do any of these exercises. Okay, maybe tomorrow we'll continue with this, because I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the other exercises in this series and their relationship to some of the other routines that we do all the time. All right? Okay, guys, have yourselves a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow is silk reeling, Malcolm.
Oh, silk reeling. Well, on Friday, then we'll do this. All right? Okay, guys. See you tomorrow.